What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Monday, February 16th. Now, I want to talk about in today's video that Dog is getting very close to entering the blue chip territory. Yes, what do I mean by that? That is the tier 1 meme coins, these blue chips that have either been established either by market cap or by the length of time that these meme coins have been around. Dog is about to enter that territory. And also what I want to share with you in this video is that not only data is going to support what I'm saying, but what we just saw from mempool.space that showed Rune's activity has resurged over the weekend, but also that Runes have dominated Bitcoin transactions over 2024, 2025, and this could give hints that 2026 is going to be the year of Bitcoin meme coins, the year of Dog. And when Dog hops into the blue chip territory, it's gonna be mind-blowing. So let's cover that in charting analysis at the end of the video. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. Okay, so Dog right now down 3.5% over the past 24 hours. When we look at Bitcoin, down 1%, it's still stuck below 70,000 US dollars. When we look into the meme coin market sector, some things are in green, not really by much. Some up maybe 1%, and then you have an insider trader token such Memecore, which is a BNB token with literally over 80% token allocations to the top 10 wallets, up almost close to 8%. Now let's look at Dog. I want to focus on Dog specifically in this video. It is within the top 20 rankings by market cap, meaning it's one of the top 20 tokens within CoinMarketCap. Now, why is this really important to understand? Well, if you look at where Dog was over the weekend, and as I mentioned on Friday in last week's video, that you're going to see Dog hop back and forth, going from 95 million market cap to 100 million market cap, going back and forth, up and down. But it was literally very close to being in the tier 1 blue chip line. This does not mean it's not going to happen. In fact, this validates that it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Now, as you can see, this blue line right here is the tier 1 blue chip line. So everything above this is considered a blue chip or a tier 1 meme coin, either if it's been around for a very long time or it's just determined by the market cap. So right now, Dog is roughly around 95 to 100 million market cap. Look at how far we are away from being in that blue line section in the blue chips. Roughly less than 100 million US dollars. That is very close, meaning we're going to flip Farcoin, Dogwifhat, SPX, Floki, Pudgy Penguins, and everything above that. This is crazy. Now, when you look at overall year to date, who's been performing the best in the meme coin sector? Well, guess what? It's Dog Bitcoin. As you can see from this chart, year to date, Dog Bitcoin has performed better than any of the other meme coins because all these other meme coins have dropped literally down to 23%, as low as even 67%, which was Farcoin. Dog was only down less than 0.3%, not even 1%. That's how well Dog is doing. And why is that? Well, it's because Dog only has one tier 1 centralized exchange listing, which is with Kraken, and because of that, we don't have that many market makers on these other exchanges. So just imagine if Dog was listed on Binance, OKX, Bybit, you name it. All the exchanges that you can think of that are tier 1s. If Dog was listed before 1010, which was the flash crash that we saw, which was the largest liquidation event in history, roughly $19 billion, then what you would have seen is that Dog would have gone down just like these other meme coins. But because it's the number 1 meme coin on Bitcoin, because it has one tier 1 centralized exchange listing, it did not capitulate that much at all. And also, given the fact that it's a free and fair distribution, all these other meme coins, these other top 20 meme coins, they all have insider allocations or token allocations to pay for marketing, market makers, or listing fees. Because of that, they fall harder because most of that allocation is given to a third party, not to the actual community. That's why Dog's been doing well. Now, let's also see how Dog's been performing against, say, for instance, a cult delusional meme coin, quote unquote, as Murad would like to call it, SPX 6900. Now, ever since October 10th, Dog has surpassed XPX 6900 in USD value by 155%, meaning if you have your USD in SPX 6900 since October 10th, you would literally lose 155% of your value in US dollars. If you just held your funds in Dog, say for instance, since October 10th, you would have gained 155% against SPX 6900. And the same thing could be said about Pengu. Now, Pengu is listed on Gemini, say for instance. Now, Basically, what we've seen is that Dog has outperformed in USD value against Pengu by 112%. Pengu has lost value to Dog at around 112%. Does that make sense? This is why Dog is doing quite well. But let's look at another sector. Now, back in September 16th of 2024, we noticed that Binance had listed scam tokens such as Nero, Turbo, and Baby Dogecoin. Remember, these are tokens that have team members that give certain allocations to pay for listing fees, market makers, you name it. They have token allocations that they're willing to give to third parties and centralized exchanges. What has happened since then? Well, year to date, Dog has not only outperformed them, but look at how much loss that the Nero community had. Nero lost on a value of $1.1 billion to now what is currently at $31 million. Turbo, $747 million to now $75 million. Baby Dogecoin, $800 million to $71 million. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is because all of these specific tokens have multiple tier 1 centralized exchange listings. And now all of them are below Dog Bitcoin by market cap. Isn't that astounding? This is why I keep sharing with people data of how strong Dog is. Now, if you look at the evolution of Dog themed meme coins, which I created this image, Dogecoin was the very first meme coin. Shiba Inu was kind of piggybacking off of Dogecoin, and then you saw that Floki was built after that. I remember when I saw Floki ads on buses here in LA. It was kind of crazy, but you can tell that there was a team that was paying for those ads. And then there's Bonk, a token that was airdropped to NFT communities on Solana. Dog with Hat was piggybacking on Bonk, and now we're with Dog Bitcoin. Dog is literally the meme coin that we've been following throughout the evolution of Dog themed meme coins. This is the meme coin that everybody's been waiting for. And this has the most liquid exposure to Bitcoin's $1.5 to $1.6 trillion market cap. All these other meme coins, like say for instance WIF and Bonk, are built on a chain which is Solana that has roughly around $50 to $60 billion. Then you have Floki and Sheev that are roughly built on the Ethereum network that's roughly around $200 to $300 billion. Dogecoin is a different chain on its own, but Dog Bitcoin obviously is superior compared to all these other ones. And this is where we are right now, this specific moment. All thanks to Kraken. Kraken not only was the first tier 1 centralized exchange listing to list Dog, but they were also the first ones to list Dog without having to pay a fee. The CEO spoke at a Dog conference. Dog was also featured on an F1 vehicle, which was the Williams racing car at the Singapore Grand Prix in 2025. And then you see that Kraken still to this day is absolutely championing Dog. This is an example that we want other centralized exchanges to follow. And not every one of them are going to be as honest and transparent as Kraken. But Kraken is the leading indicator. If they list a Dog because they believe in Dog, it's because they're giving you the early signal that when the Bitcoin meme coin cycle runs and the meme coin cycle runs and the cryptocurrency market comes back, then you're going to start to see Dog Bitcoin melt faces literally. If you've been here in 2021, 2017, you will understand what I'm talking about. It's going to most likely happen in 2026. Even David interviewed Leonidas as of this morning. He's acknowledging that the community of Dog is relentless. They're positive though, but relentless in engagement, DMing, tagging David. Now, the reason I bring this up is if you watch this interview, David really specifies and really explains that when these cycles happen, the most important thing is meme coin communities. Meme coins are the reason why Dogecoin brought in so many people to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Dog is going to be the reason why people go back to meme coins. Dog isn't just a meme coin within its own bubble in Bitcoin. It will onboard people back into meme coins because Pump.Fund destroyed everything. Dog Bitcoin is the reason why meme coin sectors will come back. Okay, so before we talk about the whole runes data that's absolutely been explosive, that's eye-opening, I can't wait to show that to you. I have to talk about this first because it all spawns from this. So if you don't know Adam Back has been around since like Bitcoin pretty much started. Everybody knows who Adam Back is. But he's been a real advocate for Bitcoin, but also he's been kind of criticizing spam. So spam is what they call, or they call it C-spam. That's what they call ordinals and runes nowadays. But what's really interesting is that there's these two different groups, which is Bitcoin Knots and Bitcoin Core. Now, Bitcoin Knots make up roughly around 22% of basically miners who are validating nodes. And these are the validators that are basically validating the blocks. Now, Bitcoin Knots people don't believe in spam. They don't believe in C-spam. They don't believe in ordinals or runes. They think that's like pretty much hurts the network. But what they're trying to do, there are some people within the Bitcoin Knots community that are trying to propose a BIP 110. Now, a BIP 110 actually is something that only a few percent of the Bitcoin Knots people are trying out. But Adam Back is speaking against that. In fact, he's saying that it actually harms the network. Quote unquote, permissionless censorship resistance, decentralized systems are hard to censor by design, because that's what Bitcoin basically is. BIP110 doesn't change that. It's reckless and it breaks multiple things for regular users. Now, the reason this is important is because Adam Back doesn't like ordinals or runes, but at the same time, he doesn't like BIP1110. He thinks that the solution is actually worse than the problem. So the solution is basically the BIP110. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, basically, we've seen this whole Blockspace war kind of resurging again. But the reason why it's resurging is because we just found out some data that runes over the weekend have actually resurged. And this is kind of crazy, but this kind of came out of nowhere. This is all about Blockspace. Now, the spike of on-chain activity over the weekend showed that the ecosystem is vibrant and users are willing to pay premium to use the chain. And this is a huge incentive for miners, because miners need to be paid. Miners are the ones that validate the Bitcoin network, that keep it secure, keep it decentralized. Now, what have we discovered over the weekend? Well, guess what? Mempoolspace made a report. What does this talk about? Well, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but what you do need to pay attention to is what's happening down below. Now, what have you noticed in this specific diagram? Yes, when you look very closely, runes in 2024 and 2025 have had a huge breakout and are dominating the protocol. And this is the same thing regarding bytes. 2024, 2025, absolutely killing it. I'm going to scroll down even more. Check this out. This is the diagram that you absolutely need to see. Look at the amount of runes that have dominated over the past 2024, 2025. This is all-time op return output breakdown. Runes have dominated. All-time count 68%. That's the majority. That even surpasses, say for instance, stacks, which you can't even see over, which is in purple. Now let's look at that all-time bytes. Around 30%. Again, surpassing even stacks for that matter. This is absolutely huge. Now, what I want to say is this specific sentence. It says almost all op return transactions in the recent years have been associated with the runes protocol and were the standard under the pre-version 30 rules. Now, these transactions would even remain standard under the BIP110, which purports to reduce data embedding. The recent wave of runes transactions are not without historic precedent. We see that the 2019 wave of Veriblock transactions were similar in scale. Now, as of right now, you're probably looking at the dog chart, you're wondering what's going on. When I look at the MACD, look how tightly the orange and blue line are. We've been really tight. We actually haven't been really selling off that much. We've just been kind of going sideways. So if you're seeing the price of dog Bitcoin go from like 94 million to 100 million, these are the best times to actually DCA, dog cost average or dollar cost average. Because the fact that you're seeing this much of sideways trading action within not just the MACD, but also the RSI, that means that not only are we oversold or overbought, we're actually in this consolidation phase where we've actually found a support. And this continues to play out where this is the best time, as you've seen with the data, that all the runes transactions is resurging. People are actually buying more, even though the market has not gone back up yet. I'm talking about the entire crypto market. And just like David, during his interview with Leonidas, this is the time where this is like literally the Dogecoin of meme coins this cycle. Dogecoin onboarded people to Bitcoin and also Ethereum. Dog Bitcoin is going to onboard people back into meme coins. I think more specifically Bitcoin meme coins, because it's less of a pump and dump and more of a hodl strategy. Because the network within Bitcoin is more of a slow transaction, and that's okay, that's the trade-off. You don't have to deal with pump and dumps. You just deal with the best assets. So with that said, you know I'm very bullish on Dog Bitcoin. This is why Dog Bitcoin is going to hop very soon into the blue chip territory because of all the data that I've just shared with you. It's going to happen. So if you are dollar cost averaging, this is the time to do it. You know that Dog Bitcoin is going to run up pretty fast. You know it's going to flip Farcoin, Melania, Trump token, Pengu, SPX 6900, you name it, it's going to flip all of them. So the real question is, are you the 1% that follows the data that I share with you? Because Dogecoin did not have that, where data was available to the public. Are you going to be that 1% that understands my data that I'm sharing with you, understands that what Mempoolspace shared with you, that the resurgence of runes is back and it's back stronger than ever? that's the clear sign that this 1% that buy in right now are going to be the ones rewarded, just like Dogecoin back in 2021. This time is going to happen in 2026. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down below. I really appreciate you supporting the channel. Let's get to 21,000 followers on YouTube. Let's get to 27,000 followers on X. So please smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog on the Moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.